I'm Pia and you're watching KiniNews. Anwar has responded to Takiyuddin over calls for equal allocation for the opposition. He also denied that support for him was a condition for the allocation.
Prime Minister Anwar Ibrahim has denied that the opposition can only obtain allocations if they supported his administration. He said this in response to Kota Bahru MP Takiyuddin Hassan over his claims in Parliament today that opposition MPs had to support and bootlick the Prime Minister for allocations. This came after PN Bukit Gantang MP Syed Hussin Hafiz Syed Abdul Fasal openly pledged his support to Anwar during the sitting, making him the 5th MP from Bersatu who had done so. In his response, Anwar pointed out that when the Bersatu-led Perikatan Nasional were the government, no allocations were given to the opposition MPs. He also reiterated that he had told the opposition to negotiate for allocations and that the offer is still open.
Setakat yang saya bincang dengan TPM 2, tidak ada kata wajib menyokong Perdana Menteri untuk mendapat peruntukan. Tak ada. Ni bincang tidak. Sombong bukan main. Ya. Saya sebagai ketua pembangkang, bila dipanggil, memang Paguh memang tak mau jumpa. Ya. Kerana dia ada kelas lain. Tapi dia jumpa. Dan kita bincang.
Takiyuddin's remarks were made after another Bersatu MP announced his support for Anwar. With support pledges from 5 Bersatu MPs, Anwar should now have 152 lawmakers on his side.
Bersatu's Bukit Gantang MP Syed Hussin Hafiz Syed Abdul Fasal has announced his support for Prime Minister Anwar Ibrahim. To date, he is the 5th Bersatu lawmaker to switch allegiance to the government. Syed Hussin made the announcement during the Prime Minister's question time at the Dewan Rakyat this morning.
Saya sendiri bersedia untuk memberi dan membantu kerajaan mewujudkan masyarakat madani, menangani kenaikan harga barang dan kos sara hidup dengan mengambil ibrah Nabi Yusuf alaihissalam.
Okey.
Dengan ini, Bukit Gantang mengisytiharkan menyokong Yang Amat Berhormat Tambun sebagai Perdana Menteri Malaysia ke-10.
5151.
Dan gagasan kerajaan madani.
Belum soalan lagi.
Sekian, terima kasih.
Tahniah perpaduan, tahniah.
Prior to making the pledge, Syed Hussin gave a lengthy speech about the importance of unity to the country. He also called for former Prime Ministers Muhyiddin Yassin and Ismail Sabri Yaakob to help Anwar. He said the real threats that Malaysia faces today are not from foreign entities or even the communists, but instead from disunity among its people. He said this would affect the government in its efforts to steer the country's economy and address issues such as increasing prices and rising costs of living. In response, Anwar thanked Syed Hussin for the support and reiterated his readiness to cooperate with the opposition.
Still on the topic, MACC sources told Malaysia Kini that initial investigation into the matter found no element of corruption in the action of the MPs.
The Malaysian Anti-Corruption Commission has found no traces of corruption so far among the 4 Bersatu MPs pledging support for Prime Minister Anwar Ibrahim. This is according to sources privy to the Anti-Graft Agency's investigation on the matter. A high-level source told Malaysia Kini that so far the initial investigation found no element of corruption in their actions, but investigators are still working on the case. The source added that investigators have recorded the 4 MPs' statements last week. When contacted, MACC Chief Azam Baki confirmed that the agency had interviewed the 4 opposition MPs last week. However, he remained tight-lipped when asked for official confirmation of the investigation findings. On November 16th, Azam reportedly told Bernama that MACC would summon the 4 MPs to investigate allegations of corruption in the switching of support. The 4 MPs involved are Iskandar Zulkarnain Abdul Khalid, Suhaili Abdul Rahman, Zahari Kecik and Muhammad Azizi Abu Naim. Earlier, Bersatu and Perikatan Nasional leaders accused the government of using intimidation and bribes to get the MPs into supporting the government.
Lim Guan Eng has denied Asmin Ali's claim that he used the Inland Revenue Board against MCA-linked firms when he was the finance minister.
Former Finance Minister Lim Guan Eng has contended that ex-Economic Affairs Minister Asmin had lied about allegations that the former had abused his power by using the Inland Revenue Board to target companies linked to MCA. He said this in his reply to Asmin's statement of defence against his defamation suit. Lim said the hurtful statements painted a negative portrayal of him as someone who abused his power for his own benefit. He claimed that Asmin's statement was malicious and politically driven because part of the audience that attended the Bersatu leader's GE15 campaign speech was from the local ethnic Chinese community. Lim also labelled as irrelevant Asmin's attempt to raise the issue of a parliamentary exchange between him and MCA President Wee Ka Siong in October 2019 over the party's ownership of Tunku Abdul Rahman University College. He pointed out that MCA was urged to relinquish its control and influence over TARUC as it was the government policy for all institutions of higher learning to be free from any political influence. He added that Budget 2019 had already seen the federal government allocate 45.15 million ringgit in funding to TARUC. Asmin had allegedly made the claim in a speech during a 15th general election campaign at Lunas Kedah on November 12 last year. Lim had filed the lawsuit in April to seek Asmin's apology over his remarks. According to a copy of the statement of claim, Lim alleged that Asmin's remarks implied that he had conducted himself arrogantly during his tenure as finance minister between 2018 and 2020. DAP and MCA are now part of the ruling unity government led by Prime Minister Anwar Ibrahim, who is also PKR president.
The revised Control of Smoking Products for Public Health Bill was tabled for the first reading in the Dewan Rakyat today. However, the GEG provisions were not included.
The government has dropped provisions related to the tobacco and vape ban based on age from the revised Control of Smoking Products for Public Health Bill. The bill, which is the ministry's third attempt to enact legislation on the Anti-Smoking and Vape Control Bill, was tabled by Health Minister Dr. Zaleha Mustafa in the Dewan Rakyat today. The previous version of the bill, put together by her predecessor, Khairy Jamaluddin, had introduced measures meant to prevent anyone born from 2007 onwards from buying tobacco or nicotine products, giving the bill its Generational Endgame or GEG moniker. According to the bill cited by the media today, the new version of the bill prohibits the sale of tobacco products, smoking substances or substitute tobacco products or providing any services for smoking to a minor. However, the GEG provisions were removed. On November 15, Khairy accused several ministers of blocking the legislation with GEG provisions and said the Cabinet's handling of the matter was absolutely shambolic. Previously, a source in the Health Ministry told Malaysia Kini that tobacco lobbyists were also exerting pressure on the government to torpedo the GEG.
Penang's Chief Minister has welcomed criticisms of the state government. However, he has told former Chief Ministers to not interfere in state government affairs after their term expires.
Chief Minister Chow Kon Yeow said a former Chief Minister of Penang has the responsibility to fully support the current government elected by the people through the democratic system. This included respecting all decisions, direction and style of leadership as well as the current leadership lineup for the overall benefit of the people and sovereignty of the state of Penang. Chow added that the state government welcomed criticism relayed through proper and official channels.
Kerajaan negeri sentiasa mengamalkan sikap terbuka dalam menerima teguran dan kritikan dari mana-mana pihak yang disalurkan melalui saluran yang betul dan rasmi. Ianya dianggap sebagai semak dan imbang yang boleh memberi manfaat penambahbaikan ke atas penyampaian perkhidmatan kepada rakyat. Walau bagaimanapun, sebarang usaha untuk campur tangan dan mempengaruhi keputusan-keputusan kerajaan haruslah dielakkan kerana ianya akan merancapkan segala usaha dan perancangan kerajaan demi kebaikan rakyat kita.
He said this in response to Machang Bubuk Assembly Person Lee Kai Lun regarding the Chief Minister's two-term limit at the Penang State Legislative Assembly sitting today. On a separate matter, Chow said the salary of the Chief Minister hasn't changed for the past 20 years at 14,000 ringgit, while that of the Executive Councillors is around 12,000 ringgit. Their salary was last reviewed 10 years ago.
And that is all for me today. For more stories, you can go to kinitv.com. You can also follow us on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube and Facebook for the latest news update. If you'd like to support independent media, do consider subscribing to malaysiakini.com. I'm Pia. Thanks for watching.